Hey fellas, Rusty coming at you. Today we're going to take a look at another, guess what, special knife. Boy, sure got a lot of those special knives, Rusty. What have you got this time? Well, in the interest of just kind of focusing on the knife, we'll talk about it. But I always like to include some history, and on that note, we can I'll try to blend some of that in. So right now what you're seeing is a 1992, and it's called the Schatt Morgan Mini Trapper. Hopefully you're seeing, and I can't really see with the sunlight I'm in. Hopefully you're seeing a 92. It should say Queen Steel on the tank stamp. And hopefully you're seeing S&M Titusville, Pennsylvania. Well, SM trademark. So it's a beautiful, beautifully ground blade. They're calling it a traditionally ground blade. And it's got that long pull. Just fantastic. Just fantastic. So let's get into a little bit of history without getting into a lot. Schatt Morgan was around about the 1890s. 1902, they built their factory in Titusville. And three of their cutlers left in about 1919 and started Queen Cutlery. And somewhere about the time of 1933, Queen Cutlery, Schatt Morgan went broke or bankrupt or out of business, and Queen bought the factory, moved into the factory, and somehow must have got the rights to make them under the Schatt Morgan name. Oh, we fast forward about 60 years. We're 1933. Schatt Morgan made its last knife. Queen Cutlery, who switched to Queen City at that time. You can just hear that snap. They decide 1991 to bring back Schatt Morgan knives, and they kind of do so every year for a variety of years in what they're calling the Keystone Series. The Keystone Series is going to be specialized or signified by this Keystone shield. The color on this knife, I do not know. I have seen some GEC knives in oxblood. This is definitely probably a blood colored knife. It's got some darkness, but it has that this reminds me of GEC, the way it's hafted. Right down here, right down here. The jigging runs almost to the center. And to do that, I've discussed on my GECs, you have to cut this bone the same thickness as this bolster. And then what happens is right here, you don't need to do any hafting, but because these round down, you have to smooth them down there. So, not sure what kind of jigging this would be called. Kind of a worm groove, a groovy type of a jigging. So anyways, we'll get some comparisons. I do want to talk about the lined bolsters up here. These are, you can tell, let me get out some comparison knives, but before I do, we have what I call the main blade that you have to reach over and access the pen blade. Very decorative pen blade. Again, it's etched. Again, it's stamped. Hopefully we're seeing Schatt Morgan there. And okay, you can hopefully hear that. I would call this one about an 8 on the pull. It's a little bit stronger than I like, but a lot of people, let's just see how that happens on what we'll call the talk. Yeah. So good walk and talk. All right, let me get set up for some other knives here. Okay, and we're back, and I'm fortunate enough to have twins, shall we say. This one is from the year 1991, and it's also the 51 pattern. I would call this a caramel style bone with a peach seed style jigging. Should be dated 91 right there. Has the same blade wedges and so on. And I should mention that these are advertised in Queen steel. And I don't know what Queen steel was in 1991. On the comments here, some people thought it was 440C when I released the video for this knife. I understand in 1981 they did a change into, they used to have like case chrome vanadium. They had their own proprietary blend of stainless steel, and then they switched to 440A in 81. I had also read though, and maybe even said in my video here, this was a 420HC. In 1991, I do have a Trapper. It has Delrin, and I do believe that one is where the reason I think it's high carbon 420 high carbon steel. So we got the line bolsters on both of these. We got both blades are tang stamped. Both blades. This blade has a double stamp. So action phenomenal. Build quality just outstanding. Truly. Oh, let's take a peek here, see what the blade centering looks like. And this is called a closed pen spring. So a closed pen spring brings this back spring all the way around. Better take a look at that back spring right here. Little bit of something going on. I don't know if it's height differential. And to be honest with you, maybe just a little bit on the brown one, same place. So I don't know if that want to classify that as a flaw or not. I will leave those out there, and I think we'll get out a couple other knives here at the risk of going on too long. Another time, this we're going to go into competition. So here's what we're looking at in terms of case knives from I want to say 1977 in a what I'll call a dog leg trapper pattern. These are both sometimes referred to as mini trappers, and they also, I think way back when, we're talking 1900s 1920s, you might call them a dog leg jack knife. And you can hopefully kind of see the dog leg in them. And these cases are really pretty amazing out of the 70s. And in my opinion, for Schatt Morgan, as far as it goes, you want to be when Bill Howard was there. Sometime in the late 80s to when 2006 I believe is when he left. This is called Case Old Red Bone and Corncob Pocket Worn Jigging. So we'll get an idea. Case, very springy action, and you can hear that. This would have chrome vanadium steel, carbon steel. It has a lighter action. Spring's not quite as strong. We'll see how you guys. Oh, I think my case is newer than a 2010. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So maybe a 2013, maybe a 2003. If you guys are like me, I like to hang in when we get to comparing the bone. And both of these now will have pinned shields. And this one has Appaloosa or milk. And like a lot of case knives, the pile side is a very dark, deeply dyed. The last thing I want to point out, let's see if you can see that, just a little splashes of color. So we have the dark color lightening up down here. Okay, guys. Oh, I think we'll put them in here like so. Well, let me see how I'm gonna get these. I'll probably take my camera off, give you guys sort of a close-up. Oh, I got a little more to point out, I guess. So let's pay attention here on both these. Take a peek at the pin compared to that pin, and you'll see, hopefully, the difference in size. So one of the things, these should both be hammered in. These are what they call spun. And so a spun is a machine doing that. It'll have these cups on both ends that will just kind of spin and push the pin in. These are going to be hammered, and these are definitely tinier, and definitely you need a hand hammered. I don't know if Case is doing machine that can hammer them, but we got spun. And then we should have the hammered, but even here we're just slightly bigger. And this is just an elegant feature, just something designed to make the knife more elegant. To me, this one is a show knife, and both of these are show knives. And this one is kind of born a work knife, if that makes sense. And this one, it can do the work, and it's the modern day trappers modern day case knives are also adequate for use. Hey, long one. I'm going to include some pictures of the build specs, what they talk about, the way they did this, and the other models that were available. And I'll tell you, I also found out that this series sold out in 5 months, which is pretty nice, because I've seen some Case series that are still selling them. So they're limited runs. They were popular. They went fast, and I don't have the details on how long this one was before they were sold out. Okay, guys.